right, take 2. It is your favorite Florida languages nerd, Ian Iglesias, speaker of Ilapungi and Chichipungi Mashkogi Oponaka Mau Oponayaka Ways. And I am beginning to dabble with Timucua, which will become increasingly relevant as I draw closer and closer to the date of my grad school program beginning. I'll be working with Aaron Broadwell, so knowing about Timucua is going to be helpful. The Timucua language is only known by the word Timucua. We don't know what native speakers of the Timucua language called their language, called themselves. We only have a list of townships recorded by Spanish imperial and also French pirate visitors. And so we call it Timucua, and we use our understanding of the grammar to better understand colonial era documents that are almost exclusively about Catholicism. The verbs are about as complex as they are in Muskogee or Miccosukee. And whereas there are basic learner materials for Muskogee and for Miccosukee at present, there don't seem to be any beginner level materials except for the arte for Timucua. And the arte has been edited and re-edited, and its examples are not kosher according to Doug Henning, and of course to Mr. Dr. Broadwell himself. So we will be referencing the grammar on its own. Okay. We start with section 4.3, word order and simple verb conjugation. I'm going to read only the example sentences and whatever pieces of information seem absolutely necessary surrounding those example sentences. For example, the fact that Timucua is subject to object verb, just like Muskogee and Miccosukee. The default tense is a suffix de, sometimes conjugated as the. The declarative suffix is le, or la. So, for example, the verb ine is to be, ine, to say that he or she is something. You would say ine de la. Verbs are conjugated to be ergative absolutive, right, under certain conditions, and nominative accusative under others. What does that mean? Sometimes the verb is conjugated so that the subject is marked as the object. That's what ergative means. Okay. Similar to the way that in Hindi, you would say, if you want to say that, dad ate bread, you would say Bap ne roti khai, right? Bap, which is singular masculine. Bap ne roti khai. The verb khana is conjugated khai, singular feminine. Why, if dad is singular masculine? Well, because the bread is singular feminine. That also sometimes happens in Timucua. We'll talk more about it later. Usually, when a verb is intransitive, so a person does a thing and there's no other object that is affected, right? For example, he runs. There's no other object that is affected in the sense he runs except for he. In those kinds of situations, those verbs are going to be conjugated as ergative. Okay? Thankfully, third person, there's not really anything you add, just like in Miccosukee and Muskogee. Example sentence number 2. Hachipile niokotela. Hachipile niokotela. This animal runs. Hachipile is animal. Hachi is thing. Pile means sort of domesticated. Niokotela means it runs. Nioko means to run, singular. De is present tense. La is declarative suffix. Hachipile nioko de la. The animal runs. This animal runs. Clear? Example sentence number 2. The Catholicism begins. Penitencia mano ine hapuna hitela. Penitencia mano ine hapuna hitela. As for penitence, there are 3 things. Penitence means 3 things. Let's go word by word. Penitencia mano. Penitencia is, of course, penitence in Spanish. Mano means as for, it's topic marker. And then ine means to be. Hapu means 3. Nahi tela. Nahi means like to be had, to exist. Nahi means to be had or to exist. Nahi tela means they are had, they exist. Penitencia mano, as for penitence. Ine hapu nahi tela. 3 things are had. Okay? Next example sentence. Nasonuma torokwa. Diosima numamate utimate arekola. That means without any instrument, God made the sky and the earth. Let's go word by word. Nasonoma, short for short for naisonoma. Na means it's the instrumental prefix. It's like ish in Krikasuki. Na iso is to use. Na iso noma. No is the verbal suffix. So literally, shilimashatige, right? Simanetska. Na iso noma. With it, use ing. And then ma means like the. Shilimashachi goga. Simanetida dat. Simanetska dat. Na iso noma. Means instrument. Todo qua. Todo qua. Todo means not being. Eite in Ilapungi. Shego in Creek. Qua means bleak. So basically, Shilemashachi goga eiti. Eitin. Shilemashachi goga eitin. Shamanetska Shigon. Nasonoma todo qua. And then the rest of the sentence. Diosima numamate ultimate arekala. Diosima, God, the. Next word is numamati, which means numa means sky, mati means and. It sort of joins them. Ultimati, uti seems to mean earth. Mate, again, and. Arekola. Areko means to create. And then la just ends it there. Nasono matoro kwa. What does that mean? Very good, without any instrument. I'm Dora the Explorer-ing this shit. Diosima numamate utimate arekala. God, the sky and the earth and makes. Not really in the past. Sort of like when Pastor Paul goes, Vishaki gome chochogoliwa naglabkon omawa. He doesn't really change. He doesn't really put the past tense there. Anyway. There's a couple vocab words we're going to be using in the next couple example sentences, so I want to go over them now. Wiro. Wiro means man. Suspiciously close to the Spanish word, ese Wiro, in Central America, but I digress. Wiro means man. Wiro sa. Wiro sa means good or beautiful, good looking, in general, good, sort of shiny character. So like Wanayachi and Mikisuki, Anatsuki, and Creek. But why it's sa, one syllable in Tsumukwa, and four syllables in Mikisuki, I have no fucking idea. Nia means woman. Nia sa. Good, gifted, good looking woman. The sa is the adjective, it goes at the end. Wirokari. Wirokari. What does that mean? Very good. It means man. Wiro means man. Kare is the plural. It's like the S. In English, wirokare means man. Likewise, niakare. What does that mean? Niakare. Women. You gotta put it there if there's no other indication that it is plural, but if there is, you don't need to put kare. Kare is just there when it needs to be, usually for humans, just like the ashi in Ilipungi and the algi in Greek. Only more like Greek, because people do sort of say strange things like pugashi, ahistinihkashi, whatever in Ilipungi. Sentence number 6, or phrase number 6. Ano yucha. Ano yucha. Ano, what does that mean? It means person, good. And yucha, you might not know it because we haven't done numbers. Yucha means two cha. I don't know. I thought that would work. Ano yucha. You don't need to say ano kare yucha or ano yucha kare, right? Yat tuglak. Iste hokolit. Iste hokolat. Ano yucha. The languages taste very different. Wiro inemi. Wiro inemi. All the men. Wiro, man, inemi, every or all. Konanwa malgat. Nanlapke. Nagnilapke. All the men. You don't need to say wiro kare inemi or wiro inemi kare. Unnecessary. Similarly, you don't need them for numbers, and you don't really need them for things, just like algae. Example sentence number 7. Yano chu wowo, or yano chu wowo, kichi kichi maeta mola haku. Yano means yonder, yikta, yenta. Chu wowo means star, chu wowo. And then kichi kichi, pinchki pinchki, means small. Since it's a non-human thing, you don't need to say stars. You don't need to say chuwowo kare. Just yano chuwowo, kichi kichi ma iata mula haku. Kichi kichi ma, the very small one, pinchki pinchkoshka. And then ia means to be had. Earlier we had nahi, which is singular. Here we have ia, which is plural. Ia ta mola. Ia, to be had, to exist. Ta is something like a participle, the blank So, iata, the be-er, the be had that which is had. Ita molahaku. Mo is the plural subject. Eata molahaku. Eata, the be or the be hadder. Eata mo, those which are had. I'm surprised to see the participle this early. It's usually at the end in Krikasuki, so this is definitely a switch. Eata be had plural. mola, declarative. It is, right? Those stars, little ones, are had, but Yano chubobo kichikichima eta mola haku. Period. Okay. Well, not period, it's more of an ellipsis, but you get my point. We get that phrase now. Yano chubobo means that star over yonder, very good. Kichikichima. And that means the little ones. Eata molahaku means eata. They are had. It is those which be had. Molahaku. Mola, they are. Haku, but. Chuwawo kichikichima eata molahaku. And then it goes on. Okay, we're done with that. Keep it moving. Oh my god, I'm taking so long. 8. This phrase. Oke hachipile. Oke, that, or he, she, it. Hachipile, animal. Okay. So, pronouns go in front of the noun. Because oke is a sort of general third person pronoun. Okay. Next, same way that it's noun adjective, just like in Krikasuki, Temukwa is also noun number, because the number, the numeral, is treated as an adjective, like in Krikasuki. For example, ine hapu, we saw this a little earlier. Ine means to be, okay, and so it can mean thing, that which is. And then hapu means, if you can remember, 3. So we've got, for numbers, yaha or yahkwa. 1 is yahkwa. 2 is yucha. 2 is yucha. And 3 is hapu. Yahkwa, yucha, hapu. Yahkwa, yucha, hapu. Okay. Phrase number 10. Wirotera means good man, good. Tapulaistiko means bad corn, good. And possessives, it's a little complicated, but not in the way that we're used to in Krikasuki. In Krikasuki, we're used to alienable and inalienable. The rules are more consistent in Creek, especially in Oklahoma, than they are in Ilipongi or in Brighton Creek, because you have things like Amboji as opposed to Jaboshi, But anyway, that distinction simply does not seem to exist in Temukwa. You own with the same suffix. Can you believe it? It's a suffix, not a prefix. Oh my god, so much of my intuition regarding this language is just wrong. So yeah, there's suffixes. Which suffixes? I'm so glad you asked. Sentence number, or phrase number 11. Boinamishoma. Or, let me stop with the glottal stop at the end. Boinamishoma. I just did it again. Boinamishoma. Boina Boinamishoma means my older brother. Boina is made up of 2 parts. Boi means brother, and na means my. Boina, mi hermano. Boina, or boina, mi hermano. Boina mi soma, my older brother. Boina, my brother. Mi soma, miso means old or older. Ma is the one, So boina mi soma, my brother, the older one. Similarly, na means my, and ye or ya means your. Na means my, ya means yours. So boina, my brother. Bahaya, your house. Bahaya, your house, people of your house. Um, Boina, my brother. Bahaya, your house. Inihimi, his wife. Na means my. Ya means yours. Ye means yours too. And mi means his, her, its. Sort of like im. Im, me. Right? Example number 13. Anokomile. Anokomile. Anoko means Lord. Mile means our. Anokomile, our Lord, nuestro Señor. Um, if you want to, what is it? If the possessor is overtly mentioned, it precedes the possessed noun. For example, Anokomile apostolicare mima, our Lord's apostles. Anokomile, our Lord, apostolicare mima, his apostles. So sort of like in, Creek or Ilapungi. Let's say Ilapungi. I'm a forshi. Im apostle kali. Im, my my persons, their or his people, my person, his people. In Timuqua, it's gonna be suffixes. So in this situation, Lord, our, apostles, his, those that are. And it's not total suffix. It's still before the ma. Seems everything goes before the ma. Anokomile apostolicare mima. Anokomile. Anoko. Lord. Mile. Our. Apostoli. Apostle. Apostoli. Care. Apostles. Apostolicare mi. Apostles. His. Our Lord's is. Me. Apostolicare mima. Our Lord's apostles. Alright, so that should end the section on possession. Oh no, we're in the simple nouns and phrases section. That's all it is. We're not even really in the verb stuff. Okay, honey, so let's get to the verb stuff. We've been at this for about 20 minutes. Let's take a break. And we're back from our break. We are going to more complex verb agreement 4.6. We were looking at some simple verb agreement in 4.3, 4.4. We're now moving up 4.3 and 4.4. Yep. We're now going to 4.6, which is the last part before we go into the nitty gritty of verb agreement. Okay. So let's just hit these, let's just review real briefly some of what we discussed. So, Timuqua subject object verb. The te is the most common default sort of present tense indicator. Te la is often going to be together to mean that something is happening. We haven't really done conjugations yet, but we have done possession. Possession is indicated by suffixes, and it doesn't really matter if it's alienable or inalienable. Very egalitarian. Very woke. If we look at the table of suffixes, right, we're going to do something like paha, or, let's say paha, house. Pahani, pahani, my house. Pahaya, pahaya, or pahaye. Probably pahaya. I don't really know how, like vowel harmony works, but let's say pahaya. Pahani, my house. Boom. Pahaye, your house. Boom. Pahami, his or her house. Pahamiti, maybe. There's a D there that some people put. We don't understand it. Pahamile, our house. Bahayake. Y'all's house. Bahamo. Bahamo. Their house. Their house. Okay. Now, with that out of the way, let's get to verbs, honey. Alright, so let's revisit sentence 17. We did this sentence before. I'm gonna say it, y'all tell me what it means. Hachipile niokotela. Hachipile niokotela. Very good. That means the animal is running. Very good. Okay. Or an animal is running, the animal runs, whatever. Next up. Hachipile toma niokotamale. Hachipile toma niokotamale. That means all the animals run. Hachipile means animal. Toma means all. And niokotamale means they run. But funky thing, nioko is the singular for to run. And we talked about it already, in fact. And then ta is another form of te, which is present tense, default, easy peasy tense. And ma here means plural subject. Niokotamale. The ma means that many subjects are running. And then le is just a period at the end. Niokotamale. They're running, period. With the singular nioko, not the plural oyoshine. Curious. Let's keep reading. We have this blurb telling us verbs which have a first or second person subject show more complicated agreement patterns. This is where the split ergativity happens. Third person seems to sort of always be in the nominative, accusative. And so what do those accusatives look like? So, let's take the verb to be. What's the verb to be? Ine. Ine. So, with the verb ine, we're going to conjugate it for all the present tense simple conjugations. Nintela. Nintela. I am. Honihe nintela. I am. Honihe means I. Nintela means I am. Okay. Hochie chintela. Hochie chintela. You are. Oke intela. Oke intela. He, she, it is. Pause. Why is it intela? Why is it not ine no more? Well, because the ine plus the plus la, you'd think it's inetela, but it's intela. The N and the T, they want to be together so bad, and that E is just it's just in the way to stick in the mud. We get rid of the E so that the N and the T can be together forever. Brings a tear to my eye. Heka nini wotela. Heka or hikawa nini wotela. We are. Heka, hikawa means we. Ni wotela. Ni is for me, and then ine is the plural. Vo is the plural object marker. We're not gonna say, ni. I don't even know what it would be. Nintemala or nintamala or nintamali. Those are all wrong. It's ninibotila. We are this other thing. Chihikawa chini botili. Chica wa chini botili. Y'all are. Chica wa. Y'all. Chini botili. Chi means you. And then the ine means is. Wo means plural object. Te is present tense. La means end of the sentence. Chica wa chini wotele. Y'all are. And then at the end, oke kare intamala. Oke kare intamala. They all are. So what does this basically mean? What's the table here? Well, long story short, you put the ni prefix in front of a intransitive root. Ni means I, right? Nine, I be. Nintela, I am. Nintela, I am. Niniwotela. Niniwotela. We are. Okay, so that's from singular first person to plural first person for intransitive. Ninte, niniwote. And the la goes at the end. Fun fact, if there's no la or le at the end, it's a question. Ninte, am I? Niniwote, are we? Nintela, I am. Niniwotela, we are. Next up is chi, right? Chi is the prefix meaning that you, or perhaps y'all, if it has wo, you or y'all do some intransitive verb, okay? Chi, you, or y'all. Ine means to be. Chintela, you are. Right? Chi, you, plus ine, to be, plus te, present tense. Chinte, are you? Chintela, you are. Let's make it plural. Chi, which is second person, you or y'all, plus ine, to be, plus, what is that plural object? Infix you gotta put there, or suffix you gotta put there. Wo. Wo. Chi plus ine plus wo plus de. Chini bote, are y'all? Ay, chini botela. Yes. Yes, we are. Real quick, what's yes in Timucua? You can say I, like I did just now. You can also say or. That means yes. And what's the word for no? Let me double check, because I don't remember. That's annoying. So the word for no is ya, or iya, which is going to be a pain in the ass because iya, that's like, it's a fun way to say yes in certain subcultures in the English language, but iya means no. Aye, or yes, yeah, no. I'm gonna have to zhuzh it up with tones and shit. Anyway, back to the word list. So yeah, ni plus wo is for I and we. Chi plus wo is for you and y'all. And then the third person is just ine plus te plus la. Indela. He, she, it is. And for the third person, the wo disappears because only me and you, only we have to deal with this ergative bullshit. The third person is free to roam around, all normative and European like. Oke kare intamala. Oke kare, them, they. Ine is we, plus te is present tense. But there's a ma coming up. What's ma? Ma means plural subject. Since we're not in this ergative game no more, we're done messing with the boat. Since we're nominative accusative, we're back to mo. And mo is impressionable. La influences mo to become ma. Ma la. Not a lot of moles in Timucua. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And then the ma la influences the te to become ta. It's a game of Othello. Mm. Ine to be plus te plus mo plus le, which is actually ta plus ma plus la. And it's the same thing. Intamala. They are. So, the third person, there's no prefix, but there is a special spicy suffix, the mo or the ma, that is similar to but distinct from the bu or ba. Let's keep it moving. Bahanika arikotanikala. Bahanika arikotanikala. Baha means house, good. And then Nika means hour. I think the Nika versus the Mile, they both mean hour, but there might be a ergative accusative thing going on. Bahanika, our house. Ariko tanikala. Ariko means to create, like we mentioned earlier. The ta seems to be present tense. Ariko ta. Nika means that we do it. We learned Nika a little while ago. Nika versus Mile, both of them mean hour. It seems Nika is probably the older suffix for we because it's embedded in verb forms. A moment ago, we talked about how there's ergative, absolutive prefixes and then the bo and mo slash ma suffixes that you use for verbs where there is no thing being done besides yourself. But what about if there is? Well, we're going to touch on that as soon as we finish with this example. But those are suffixes. Prefixes are ergative and when we are the object of the verb. Suffixes are when we are doing something and the object is something else. So, bahanika, baha, house, nika is our. Why isn't it bahamile? Well, bahamile actually shows up in the corpus, shows up more often than bahanika. So what's the deal? It seems Pareja treated these two interchangeably, but the corpus tells us that they were not, in fact, equally interchangeable. There's 1,000 uses of mile, there's not even 100 uses of nika, and nika is usually used for family members, and for masters, and for servants, and things that are obviously related to power dynamics. And given that it's embedded in the verb system, nika is probably the older form. Mile is probably me, which is his, her, its. And it eventually became expanded to mean those which are owned by them, eventually those that are owned by us. And so it's more de moda at the time of Pareja's writings and by the time that Timucua people were writing their language. What the fuck am I talking about? Bahanika, our house, or Bahamile, it seems. Bahanika arekota nikala. Areko means we make, we create. Ta is present tense. Nika is for when there's an object to the verb. It's a suffix because there's an object now. We'll look at the whole table for that later. But arekota nikala. Areko, make. Ta means present tense. Nika, we do it and there's an object. La is the end of the sentence. Bahanika, nuestra casa. Arekota nikala. We make it. We make our house. I want to take this time now to shift gears and look at the ergative, accusative aspect of verb conjugation. Basically, we got the intransitive prefix things down, right? I am, you are, there's no object, I just am, you just are. what is it? Nintela, chintela. We got that. Let's expand. Okay? So there's suffixes for when someone is doing something to the object of a verb. There's a set of ergative, accusative suffixes that go at the end of a verb when there is an object of the verb. What the fuck does that all mean? Basically, there's this special set of verbal suffixes that you use if you are A, talking in the present tense, B, making a statement, not a question, a statement, right? A, B. C, there's an object of the verb. Present tense, sentence, there's an object of the verb. And D, lastly, the odds of using these special sort of almost European language feeling suffixes, the chances go way up if the object of the verb is me or you. If there's a sentence in which something is being done to me or to you, in that sentence, you're going to use these special ergative suffixes. What are they? Well, let's look at some examples. Sentence 16. Ivine chaleka kokoma chieka bohale. That, I'll say it again slow. Ivine chaleka kokoma chieka bohale. I will wet you all or anoint you all with the new water. This is a line about baptism. Okay. Ivine, water. Yeah, ivine means water. Chaleka kokoma, the very new water, right? Because chaleka means new. Koko means emphasis. It means very. It means truly. And then the ma means the. Chaleka kokoma, the very new ibine, the very new water. Ibine chaleka kokoma chieka bohale. I will anoint y'all with the new water. So we got ibine, we got chaleka kokoma. Now this last word, chieka bohanle. Chi is, as we know, you. Chi, ika means to wet or to anoint in this situation. Chieka, wet you. Chieka wo, wetting you all. Chi means chieka, to wet you. Chieka wo, to wet y'all. Okay? And then hanle. Hanle is a contraction of hawe nle. Hawe nle. Okay? Hawe is gonna or would, and it's shortened to ha, and then it's nasalized to reflect the because the I do suffix in a transitive verb, that's going to be just So, chi eka wo hanle. Chi, you. Eka, wet you. Chi eka wo, to wet y'all. Chi eka wo ha, to wet, going to wet y'all. I'm gonna wet y'all. I hate how this sounds. I hate it. Chi eka wo han, I gonna wet y'all. Le. Right, end of the sentence. I am gonna wet y'all. Ivine chaleka kokoma chieka wohanle. I will wet y'all with the very new water. Oh. Anyway, when I do something to you, the suffix for I do it is n. It's gonna go right in front of the li, right in front of the declarative suffix. Moving right along. When I do something to you, the n towards the end of the verb means that I'm doing it. When you do something to me, The suffix naye, naye means that you do it to me. For example, sentence 17. Huwaso nina huwaso tanaye inibiti akula. The love with which you love me is very big, Father God, right? You love me with love that is very big. Let's go word by word. Huwaso is love, the noun. Next word, nina huwaso tanaye. Ni means I am the object of the verb again. Uh-oh. Because remember that nintela, I am, that's intransitive. So that ni, that reflects that I be, that I exist, that I am. That ni is only gonna be to mark that I am in that situation where there's no object. But here, you love me with this big love. So what are the objects in that sentence in English? You love me with this big love. Well, me, I'm one of the objects, and the big love is one of the objects. So you have to mark those in this verb to love. Huwasho is to love. Ni, you love me with this big love. So ni huwasho, right? To love me. But you love me with this big love, right? Huwasho ni na. Ni meaning to me. Na meaning with it. Ni na huwasho tanaye. Huwasho ni na huwasho tanaye. Love huwasho. Ni to me. Na with it. With the love aforementioned. Ni na huwasho tanaye. You love me with love, right? In that phrase by itself. Let's look at it again. Huwasho ni na huwasho tanaye. The you love me with a big love. There's no la, so it's not the end of the sentence. Huwasho ni na huwasho tanaye. The love you love me with, right? Iniriti akola. Iniriti. Iniriti means big. Iniriti means big. Like I'm going to look up big in the webinary, and the first word is going to be yai, which means big or strong. And then I don't really see iniriti. What's going on with that? I'm going to put it in. Oh! So iniriti isn't actually big. It's exceeding much. The example sentence in the webinary is tapula iniriti, sometimes spelled iniriti. One variation, iniriti. Iniriti. So, tapula iniriti. Exceeding corn. Ashpi, what is it? Ashpi shonayaga. Right? Way too much. Right? That's what's going on with iniriti. So, back to the example sentence. Huwasho ni na huwasho tanaye. Love you, love me with. Iniriti akola is excessive, right? Iniriti means excessive or very much. Ako means very, and then la is end of the sentence. You might be asking, why isn't it iniriti kokola? Well, koko is more emphasis and sometimes very. Ako is usually very, sometimes used just to be exaggerative. But if you really want to get down to it, koko is more hype. Ako is more to the extent, to the very far extent, extremely. Koko is for real. Ako is extremely. There we go. That's better. Huwasho. Huwasho nina huwasho tanaye iniriti akula. Okay. Huwasho nina huwasho tanaye. The love that you love me with. Iniriti, exceeding akola, is very much exceeding. Enough on this R&B from the 90s ass lyric. I'm going to go on to sentence 18. Heka chimachete kuisho wotanikala. I'll say it slow. Heka chimachete kuisho wotanikala. We bother y'all. We are bothering y'all. The heka really doesn't need to be here. It sounds so weird with my Muskogean ear. Like, get that pronoun out of here. So, heka, we know is we. Hekawa is what you studied in the Quizlet. And then, chimache tu kuisho watanikala. Chi is to say you, because you who were bothering. Machetukui means be bothered, be irritated. Chi machetukui, you be bothered. Sho means to cause it. Chi machetukui sho, to bother you. Chi machetukui sho wo, to bother y'all. Chi machetukui sho wo ta, to be bothering y'all. Chi machetukui sho wo ta nika, we are bothering you. And then all together, chi machetukui sho wo ta nikala. Does that make sense? Do y'all get it? No? Okay, speed run. Heka chi machetukui sho wo ta nikala. Let me ask y'all, what does heka mean? Also known as hekawa. If you were paying attention, roll the tape. If you don't remember, roll the tape. You're not taking notes. Bet on you. Roll the tape. Heka or hekawa means we. Chi, at the beginning of this word, chi machetukui so watanikala. I'm going to be saying that in my sleep. Chi means you do it. Machetukui means to be. What does my voice sound like right now? Mr. Glacier, Ian sounds a little pressed, bothered. Exactly. Yes. Machetukui, bothered, as I might sound right now. Machetukui sho, what does that sho mean? It's a causative. It means to make the thing in front of it happen, right? For example, he is to eat. Heisho is to feed, to make someone eat, to make the eating happen. Chi machetukui sho wo. What does that wo mean? Wo means plural object. Great. Chi machetukui sho wo ta. What does the ta mean here? Basically present tense. Chi machetukui sho wo ta nika. Nika means we do it. Chi machetukui sho wo ta nikala. We bother y'all. Causative. Present tense. I said that last one with my eyes closed. This verb is burned into my memory. We're at 53 minutes. Holy shit. Okay. Sentence number 19. It's going to be another nika. I don't like how that sounded. Sentence 19. Ite mileno dio si hewa no maweta. Chi ka si wotanika. It means, well, I'll say it slow and you guys tell me. Most of this we've covered. Ite mileno dio si hewa no maweta. Chi ka si wotanika. That's to say, we priests teach you all the word of God. Now you might be asking yourself why. What's the breakdown? Well, let's go bit by bit. And actually you guys tell me, because we've covered most of this. Ite mileno. That means it's the first word in the sentence, so it's the subject. We priests teach y'all the word of God. What's the subject? Priest. Ite mileno, priest. Diosi means, y'all know what Diosi is. Don't waste my time. The neighbor knows what Diosi is. Hewa no maweta. Hewa no maweta. Hewano means word. Ma means good. Hueta means good. Hewano ma hueta. From the word. Chi ika shi wotanika. Chi means you as the object of the verb. Good. Ika or ika, but I didn't want to use that second one because it sounded too much like the word we just used for anoint, to wet. Chi ika shi wotanika. Chi, you. Ika, teach. Shi is the benefactive. It means for someone or something. Wo means plural object, which makes sense because we're teaching y'all. Chi ika shi wota. Da means what? Nika means what? Da nika together means what? We're doing it. Chi ika shi wota nika. We are teaching y'all for or about, because of that she infix, that means for something, in respect to something, in respect to the word of God. One more time. Itimile no dioshi hewa no mahuita, chiika shi wotanika. We, the priests, right? God's word, teach y'all about it. We priests teach y'all the word of God. Okay, so let's stop for a second. We got 2 sets of prefixes and suffixes, okay? Let's recap. When we've got no object of the verb, we use the ni prefix for me, the ni wo prefix and infix for we. We use the chi prefix for you, the chi wo prefix for the chi wo pairing for y'all. And for the third person, there's no prefix and there's only the mamo suffix. Okay? And that's for when there's no object. For when it's a question. Okay? For when the object is the third person. That's a lot of different kinds of sentences, isn't it? Questions are going to just use those prefixes. If the object is a third person, going to use those prefixes. If it's a non-statement, if it's not present tense, we're going to use those prefixes. Why? Because this interpretation of voluntad is very much narrower than what we have at present with Florida's modern indigenous languages. So, we only use these special accusative suffixes, ergative accusative suffixes, when it's which tense? Present. Very good. When it's transitive or intransitive verbs? Tell me, I forget. When it's transitive verbs. Very good. When the object of the verb is which person? We use these suffixes when the object is third person, yes or no? No, third person, don't even pay her no mind. It's a he, she, they. That's someone else. The only things that matter in the Timucua ergative accusative tense, the only things that matter in this language, that are voluntary in this language, that are real in this language, are you and me. Nothing else gets the voluntary suffixes. Just you, just me, just now. That's when you use these suffixes. So it seems. Alright, we're arriving at the 1 hour mark. Ugh. Do I really want to make this more? Oh no, y'all, this is important. I'm so sorry. This is going to take even longer. But this language will make so much more sense afterwards. If you need to take a break, get a tea, get a snack, get dicked. I mean, do what you need to do to recharge, take a nap. Don't listen to this for a couple of days. Then listen to it again from the beginning. Or you could just take a quick break, listen to this again, maybe tomorrow. Don't let, you know, don't let too much time go by because there's a lot of details. Consistency is key. Close proximity in time is key. So, those are the big general tendencies, right? The intransitive prefixes, the specific and very conditional transitive suffixes. Let's see what's behind these asterisks, because there's a couple asterisks that are real important, okay? Firstly, in a lot of these sentences, the first person singular ergative suffix n don't show up too much. It tends to nasalize or just disappear. Like in that one example where I said something hanle. It wasn't even, it was hanle. Oh yeah. Iwine chale Iwine chale ka kokoma chie kabo hanle. Like hanle. You almost don't hear it. And that's one of the ones that is nasalized, but it's often not. So how do you catch that N? Well, there's a couple ways. One, if that N comes up right after a E, that E gets upgraded. Let me upgrade you. That E becomes an A. It's a higher vowel, right? So from A to A. So A plus N becomes A. Sometimes sometimes A. Okay? So where that N would go, tells me that there's an N in disguise behind that A. Okay? It could have been hele, right? But that means he or she will wet you with the new water. But it's hale. Or let's get rid of the nasal. Hale. Let's read that sentence again without the nasal. Okay? Irine chalika kokoma chie kabo hale. Chie kabo hale. So that hale tells me that it's actually hawe plus n. He plus n. Hen becomes ha. Hale. Boom. Easy. Next secret little disappearing act for this Houdini ass suffix. The first person ergative N. If this N is in front of an L, the L absorbs the N. Just like in Mikasuki. Same. So that particular word, Chiekabuhale, it was doomed from the start. There was no way that N was going to survive. Because the N is right after the he for Hawe. Chiekabuhe plus N plus le. Hale. Okay? But then also he plus N plus le, that L was gonna kill that N to begin with. That poor little baby N never had a chance. So, double homicide. Let's keep it moving. All right. So another example, in which that you might not know the conjugation. Okay. So let me just tell you, yechi, yechi. That word means to ask. Now, if yechi means to ask, what does yechitela? What does yechitela mean? Yechitela. It means he or she is asking someone else. Okay? Now, what if I say chiyechitela? Chiyechitela. That means he or she is asking you. Very good. Now, what if I say chiyechitala? Chiyechitala. Te and ta both mean present tense, but that ta, it's an A now, it's not an E. When does an E become an A? If you're saying what I think you're saying, then you're on the right track. But if you're not, let me give you one last hint. What does that letter N do when it's after an E? That N upgrades the E to a A. And that N means I'm doing it. Chie chitala. Chie chitala. Tala. I'm asking you. Chie chitala. I'm asking you. So let's try another one. How about this one? Nie chitayela. Nie chitayela. Ni yechi ta yela. Ni yechi ta yela. It means someone's asking me a question, right? Because it's got that ni in front, which means I'm the object of the verb. Ni yechi ta yela. Ta means present tense, but there's got to be an N in front of it or something. Te plus n plus ayela. Bring me ayela. I think I'm funny. Bring me a tayela. Te plus n plus ayela. What suffixes are those? Te is present tense. N plus aye. Boy, that's naye. Naye. You do it. Niechi tayela. You are asking me a question. Okay, so we see the difference, right? Niechi tayela versus chie chitala. Both of those tas are concealing an N in front of it. Now, the N isn't always going to be behind the te, behind the present tense te, right? Sometimes that te is not going to be there. Like when? It's in the question. Okay, fair. But is it in the negation? No. Important note on negations in Timucua. If there's a negation, you don't need a te. Okay? For example, in this sentence, be reminded that oho means to give in Timucua. Chiohuntila. Chiohuntila. What does that sound like it means if oho means to give? Chioho ntila. Chi means you. Oho means to give. N means I do it. It also sometimes means the reflexive. We'll get to that in just a second. Chiohuntila. Chi means you. Oho means give. N means I do it. Ti. If you know ilapungi, you know what is meant by ti. Ti means doesn't, don't, negation. Chiohuntila. I don't give it to you. Chiohuntila. Chiohuntila. Chi oho ntila. Chiohuntila. No te lo doy, pues. Example sentence 22. Nihi no chupiko weta. Nihi halahaku. Farita. Ei. Anomani so gentila. There's a lot of new vocab here. Nihi no. Nihi means to die. No is the ige. It's the gerund suffix nominalizer. Dying. Chupiaku weta. Chupiaku or chupiku. 1,000. Vita is the oblique. So 1,000 deaths oblique. Nihi halahaku. Nihi halahaku. Nihi die, like nihi no death. Iligi. Nihino is death. Nihi, to die. Hala. Ha. What does ha mean? Ha is another form of which suffix? Have. Have. Or just he. He is a short form for Howie. But he, why is it ha here? What must be up in that ha? I don't like how that sounds. An must be all up in that ha. Because otherwise it would be he. He plus n is ha. Nihi hala. Nihi he n la. Die, nihi, die. He, Irialis, would, will. N, I do it. La, period. Nihi hala. Literally, ni, he, he, n, la. Nihi hala. I would die. Haku, but. Huarita, a. Anomani sohantila. Ano means person, but also honorific, because you're honoring the person that you're honoring. Ano means honorific. Mani, to want or think. So is to cause thinking, right? He is what? He is Irialis. Handila. So the N is actually here. Because even though the ha is there, the ha didn't eat up the n. Because there's no L behind the n, telling the n to go away. The other verb here, nihihala. I would die. Nihi, die. Ha means Irialis, but there's an N nearby, and then the la eats up the other half of the N that the ha had left over, you know. But here, in this word, anomani sohandila, half the n is sort of eaten up by the ha, but the other half isn't eaten up by the la, because it's mani sohandila. The D, the negation, saves the day, and our friend n, first person conjugation, gets to live for another sentence. Whoo-wee, that one took it out of me. Let me read it again just to be sure we're clear. Nihi no chupiko weta nihi hala haku farita e ano mani sohantila. Ano mani sohantila. I would not even make thought about offending or turning away, you know. Nihino chupiko weta, 1,000 deaths. Nihihala, I would die. Haku, but. Farita, to turn around. A, to offend. Ano mani so gentila. I, honorably, honoring you, would not even make thought about it. Oh my god, this is taking so long. 23. Nate chimani shihantile. Nate means to forgive. Chimani shihantile. Chi means very good. Mani means very good. She means very good, as opposed to sho, which means excellent. Ha handile. What 4 suffixes are in that cluster? Handile. The first one is good. The next one is and that affects the he because it turns the he into a ha. Good. The third one, in hantile, we have ha, we have n. D, good. And then le. Chimani shi hantile. I don't think or want to forgive you for it, for whatever the thing is, because that she means for something. Awesome. Sentence 25. Okotota kokolimaka. Chia hoshibuhale. Listen carefully and I'll explain it to you. Okotota. Okoto means, you might remember it from the Quizlet, to hear. Okoto da. Da here is not actually anything to do with de. There's no ends nearby. And if you know the language, you know there can't be an N nearby. So, what you know when you know the language is that this is the participle, right? The doer, right? The doer of the thing attached. Okuta, listener. Okuta kokole. Okuta koko, very much so, right? Emphatic. Be a real listener, right? Okuta koko, a real listener. Le, to be. Maka. That's the plural imperative. Aks. Mijakschi. You know? If you know Greek, maka is agas. It means plural imperative, as opposed to the Timuqua, hachi, which is sort of like the Greek uschi. Uschi. Mijaschi. Do it. Moshohachi. Do it. Omiksha in Ilabungi. But yeah. Hachi is do it singular, like uschi in Greek. Maka in Timuqua is like agaschi in Greek. Anyway. Okotota kokolimaka. Chia hoshibuhale. Okotota, being a listener. Koko, really being a listener. Kokole, really being a listener. Okotota kokolimaka. Do it, really be listeners. Chia hoshibuhale. Chia hoshibuhale. Chi means you. Do something, there's no clear object. Aho means to expose or to shed light on. Si, the she is benefactive, as you know. Wo means plural subject. Chi, wo, chi, aho, shi, wo. Ha is he plus the heightened because of the N that I'm doing it, you know. I'll explain it to you. Ha, le, there's a period. So all together. Chia hoshi wohale. I'll explain it for y'all in regards to it because of the she. Sentence 26. It's gonna be another hala, basically. Tera pukwa namino shotela haku. Hapu makwa chitolo boshoshi hala. It will bring many good effects. It will cause many good effects to come, but I'll explain 3 of them to you. Tera means good. Pukwa means many. Namino shotela. Na means with, very good. Mino means to come. Might remember from the Quizlet. Mino. Sho, to cause them to come. Mino sho. Tela. You know, it does it. Haku, but. Hapu makwa. Hapu, 3. Ma is the, and then kwa is sort of like veta, but less post-position-y, I guess. Chi tolobo shoshihala. Chi, you know, you, object of the verb. Tolobo, to open something up, basically to explain it another way. Another word for explain. Tolowosho, to cause something to be opened up. Si, for someone. You know. Chi tolowosho shi, for someone, or in regards to something. Hala, I'm gonna do it. Hapo makwa chi tolowosho shi hala. I will explain 3 of them, open up 3 of them for you. 27, give it up for 27. It's gonna be another fucking hot day, bro. Nirikota San Pedro Mukukwa Makota Ichike Chikula Hoshihale Mashinike. And he stood and knelt in front of Peter and touched him and said, I'll wash your foot. And then something else happened. Okay. Nekero is to stand. Nekerota, standing. San Pedro Mukukwa Makota. San Pedro Mukukwa. Muku means presence, apparently. There's no such thing for that in Krikasuki. Kwa, sort of, again, oblique in it, but not oita. Makuta. Maku means to touch. Makuta, touching the presence of San Pedro. Ichike chikula hoshihale. Ichike, foot, leg. Chikula hoshihale. Te lo lavo, te lo lavaré. Mashinike. Mashi is to say. Ni is the passive, that it is said. Ge is switch reference. Okay. Number 28, something interesting. Chihuwa shobinchuteo. I loved you, goddammit. I loved you long ago. Gosh darn it. Fucking shit. Ga seems to be the translation for this one. Chi means you. Huwasho, to love. We, past tense. I did it. I do it. I did it. Chu, further back. Oh, so like likta, exactly like in Mikasuki. And then chu is way back in the past. You have to put ri and chu the same way you have to put I and kta in Mikasuki. The 2 pasts indicate how long ago it was. Chihu wa soin chuteo. So the n is between the ri and the chu, the same way that the le would be between the I and the kta. Something like that. I fucking loved you long ago, you idiot. Let me put those 2 closer together. I fucking loved you. I fucking loved you. Cool. So Deo, dragged out, means out. Fucking, rude, sassy, mean a bit. Alright, so as we approach 90 fucking minutes, let's look at a couple example words and see what you understand. I'll tell you the meaning of the word, and with what we've discussed today, you'll try to sort of unpack what the words mean. Okay, so because this is written by 16th century Catholics, there's a lot of talking about punishment. So, the word for the next couple of examples that you'll be analyzing, the verb is kaluwo. 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 That's to be punished. And to punish is kaluwosho. 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 Okay, so here's a word. Ni kaluwosho bola. Ni kaluwo showola. Ni kaluwo showola. How many parts can you recognize? Okay, if you said 5, you're good. Ni, first person. Kaluwo, to be punished. Sho is to cause punishment. Ni kaluwo showola. So, ni kaluwo sho, I being punished. Ni kaluwo sho wo, that wo at the end is plural. So we being punished. Ni kaluwo showola. We are punished. Yay! We are punished. Next one, it's still about punishment. This shit is so Catholic. Chikaluwo showoha wele. Chikaluwo showoha wele. Let's go bit by bit. Chi kaluwo showo hawele. What's it mean? You all will be punished. Yay! Alright, let's say enough punishment. Okay, next verb. Oho. Oho. What does it mean? To give. Good. Now, what does this mean? Nohovala. Nohovala. What does it mean? How many parts can you feel in that word? Nohovala. 4. Very good. And what are those 4? Nohovala. What are the 4 parts? N for ni. Very good. But e and ni and oho, the oho is gonna win. The verb root is gonna win, so it breaks the e, and it's just n. Noho wala. N oho wala. Wa from wo and la is this period. So altogether, noho wala. He, she gives it to us. Noho wala. Noho wala. And then noho vohavela. Noho vohavela. How many parts can you feel in that? Noho vohavela. 5. Very good. And what are they? N, oho, wo, hawi, la. Noho vohavela. He will give it to us. She will give it to us. Very good. Okay. Let's play a little bit with one last word, and I'll end it at 1:30. The longest preview ever. Mani. Y'all already know mani. Mani's easy. Okay, so what does this word mean? Mantamala. Mantamala. How many parts can you feel in mantamala? 4. Good. And what are they? Mani. Good. With the E taken off, with the E broken. Plus ta, which here means they, because it's in front of a labial. Right? The N that I do it makes it go up, but the M for mo, ma also makes it go up. Man, ta, ma, la. What does it mean? Man, mani, to want. Ta from de, present tense. Ma from mo, plural subject, la, which is the end of the sentence, and it's the primary root that is lifting all those vowels from A's and O's to A's and A's. One la at one end, you pull it up, and everything else afterwards that can be pulled up is pulled up, does get pulled up. Mantamala. They want it. Mantamala. They want it. One last one. Mantamoke. 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 How many parts are you feeling? 4. Very good. And they are mani and da/te and mo, which is plural, subject, and ge, which is switch reference, different subject. Those them facts. There's so much more we could get into, but this is meant to be just a cursory review of some relevant topics to understanding how some of Timucua verb morphology works. There's going to be a part 1, 2, 3, and maybe 4 after this. This whole 90-minute shebang is meant to be a prologue. So consider yourself prologued. Thank you for listening. I don't know how to say thank you in Timucua, so I'll say it in English, Spanish, Creek, and Miccosukee. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Machi and Shanabisha. Amahaglich kagaye. Amahaglach kagaye. Ichichong ilo mishkipoa. Mawa. The Timucua Language by Aaron Broadwell, Section 15, Verb Agreement. The animal runs. Hachipile ma niokotela. Hachipile ma niokotela. The animal runs. Nioko, to run. There is no element that tells us it's third person. There's nothing else, so it becomes third person because there's nothing else. All the animals run. Hachipile toma nioko tamale. Hachipile toma nioko tamale. Hachipile is animal. Toma is all. Nioko, to run. Da is present tense. It's like de, but if it's got 2 high vowels on each side, then it becomes high. Nioko tamale. Da is de with uppity friends. Ma is the subject plural. It's like mo. Mo is to say many. Nyokodamale. So if you can make it high, you do. Nyoko o meant that de could be da if there was another potentially high vowel. Nyoko, de or da, and next to it is mo or ma. If there's 2 potentially high vowel syllables, then they both become
high vowel. Niokodamari. There's no suppletive for run, which is unusual to my Muskogean brain. Another example of this suffix, of the ma suffix, the plural subject. Ma is subject, ma is subject. Uwata yaritamakwa. Uwata. Uwa is to enter. Da, same subject, suffix. Yari means pass. Da means they, again, with the uppity neighbor. Yarite is like is passing. Yaritama, ma is the plural from mo. Kwa means when it happens, right? So in Ilapungi, this would be something like Achingak Ashiachik Hawk or Achingak Ashiachomik Hawk or Ashiachik, what is it? Achingak Ashiachom Hoik Hawk when they passed down and entered the road. Uwata yaritamakwa. Uwata, entering. Yaritamakwa, pass or passing, present, plural, when. Uwata yaritamakwa, when they passed down and entered the road. Sancta Iglesia ma hachiwono lapustama. What do they request of the Holy Church? Sancta Iglesia ma, the Holy Church. Hachiwono, what? Lapustama. Lapu is to request or ask for. Si is the benefactive. In Muskogean. Da is de, ma is mo. It seems that whenever it's demo, it becomes dama. Dama. Demo. Maybe like demo. Like lower. Anyway. Sancta Iglesia ma hachiwono lapustama. Sancta in Ilipungi, that would be something like Sancta Iglesia Koga Nagon Mahaglamo. Nagon im would be the in Lapustama. Im Ahanglomo, yeah. Nagon Mahaglamo, that ho being the ma, because they both indicate plural. Alright, so that's subject. Next thing. Plural object is wo. 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 Or va. Va. Like in the example, Avoto wo bicho. Have you beaten him? Have you hit him? Avoto means to hit or beat. Wo is plural object. Vi is past tense. And then cho is from chi, which means you do it. And o, which is a question marker. Avoto wo bicho. Have you hit him? Have you beaten him? Notice, though, that in these first sentences, it was always tama, lapustama, lapustama, lapustama. I'll say it that way, lapustama. It was always lapusta, present tense, ma, plural. But in this case, it's awuto wo vi cho. So the wo, which is plural object, the wo that's plural object is before the tense marker. Awuto wo vi cho, not awuto vi wo cho. That, I guess it's so that you can have both in the same word without it being a mess. Next sentence. Dios hizo mi tonomo. Dios hizo mi tonomano. Dios hizo mi tonomano. The mother of, or what is it? As for the mother of God, Dios, God, hizo is mom, mitono is the possessive for third person honorific. Okay, so they have their own possession. Mitono, there, in, but it's bougie. Mano, topic marker. Dios hizo mitono mano. God's venerable mother, as for that. Itemile no karemichu. Itemile no karemichu. The aforementioned priests. Waso wakwa. Waso wakwa. When loving. Huaso is love. Wa is wo, plural marker for objects. And kwa means when. Huaso wakwa. When loving them. Nahio como vota. Nahio como vota. Na means with. It's like ish in Muskogean. Hio como is to greet, a word I wish I knew in Muskogean. Wo is plural object, and that means as they were doing it. The full translation is God's mother greeted and loved the priest, and then, or as for God's mother, she loved the priests and greeted them. I'll say it all together one more time. Dios hizo mi tonomano, iti mile no karemichu, huaso wakwa nahio como wota. Dios hizo mi tonomano. Dios is God, hizo, mother, mitono, honorific possession, mano is topic marker. Ite mileno is a priest. Care is plural. Michu, the aforementioned. Ite mileno care michu, the aforementioned priests. Huasowakwa, when loving them, or as while loving them. Huaso is love. Wa is plural. Kwa is when. So huasowakwa, when loving them. Na yo como wota. Na, with, it means with. Hio como means to greet. Wo means guess what? Very good, plural marker for the object, and da means what? Very good, same subject marker. Okay. All right, some more example sentences because I gotta go. Example sentence. He wetota, eso watamala. They carry and feed them. He wetota, from he weto, means to feed, probably connected to he, which means to eat. And then da is, well, you know. Eso watamala. Eso means to carry, like ishik. Wo means plural object. That in this case is for the tense, not for, same subject, whatever. Ma is plural subject, not plural object. And then la is, the s. It makes it declarative. So, feeding. Yeah, hewitota, feeding, and then isopotamala. Iso carry wo plural object. Ta copula. Ma plural subject. La. Hutamala would be the like hoyaris in Greek. How? Hewitota isopotamala. They carry them and they feed them. Another example sentence. Minekano okekare isititi mosowotamale. Those ones harm and do evil to others. Minekano, mineka, is apparently the third person plural pronoun respectful, it looks like. Mineka, as opposed to just oke. Oh, yeah. Oke is, you would put it in addition to that. So they're just two different words. Minekano, as for the third person plural who you respect, okekare, those ones, istitimoso botamale, they harm them. Istitimo means to harm. Istitimo. Maybe like, hampachik or katahlik, something like that. So is the causative. Okay, so katah would be istitimo. And then so would be the l in katahlik. Istitimoso. Istitimoso botamale. Istitimo, harm. So means to cause. Wo is plural object. Ta is present tense. Ma is plural subject. Le is the end of the sentence. Mineka no okekare istitimoso wotamale. Those ones harm and do evil to others. Okay, next example. Diosiano pequatamile chimani si womo hawe mano. I'll say it again. Diosiano pequatamile chimani si womo hawe mano. They will recognize you all as God's servants. Diosi, God. Anu is the honorific marker. Pequatamile. Pequata means to serve. Mile. Apparently, it's the third person honorific of some sort. Chi mani si womo hawe mano. Chi means you. Mani means to think. Si, benefactive. So, oh, that's how you do it. Chi manisi as opposed to chemangli. Okay. Chi manisi. Okay, chi means second person. Mani means think. Si means benefactive. Wo means plural object. Mo means plural subject. Hawe is the future, I guess. Irrealis, would or will. And then mano is the topic marker. So they will recognize, they will think you, les creerán, as God's good servants. One more time. Diosi ano pequetamile, chima nisi womo hawe mano. And as for thinking you all as God's good servants, dot, dot, dot. Just one more time on the way out. Chi mani si wo mo hawe mano. Next example sentence, that's going to be 10. Nina tomo diso bo mo hawe. Well, let me pronounce that better. Nina tomo diso wo mo hawe. They will comfort us. Ni is first person. Na is instrumental. Tomoti means to comfort. So is to cause comfort. Right? Tomoti is comfort, to be in comfort. Tomotiso is to cause comfort. Wo, plural. Object, which is first person. So ni and wo means we. And then mo is plural subject marker, which in this case is the they. I wonder how they. Oh, well. They will comfort us, but who's to say, we will comfort them? Future. That's a question for the future. So, wo is plural object, mo is plural subject, hawe is will. And there's no la at the end. Nina tomo tos. Wait. Nina tomo tiso wo mo hawe. Okay. Okay, I gotta go. Part 2, verb agreement in Aaron Broadwell's grammar. 11th example sentence. Hachi bueno inino kare ko hika o kotomohero maniwicho. That's to say, have you wanted for the village to hear about your deeds? Hachi bueno, thing or what? Inino kare ko. Inino means deed or act. Kare is plural. Ko is like even, also alternator. So whatever deeds. Hika is pueblo. Okoto, to hear. Okotomo hero. Mo is plural subject. So that they hear it. Mo, they. He is hawe, is gonna, means will. Ro, I don't really know what ro is. Desiderative, different subject. Bitch, what the fuck is a desiderative? One moment, please. Means relating to desire. Why is it desiderative? Why isn't it like desirative? Whatever. That just means you want it to happen. Okotomohero. So ro, I guess is da, but more daydreamy. Okotomohero, wanting that they're gonna hear you. Mani wichu. Mani means want. Vi means past tense. Chi is you do it. And then o is question. Mani wichu, you wanted it? Okay, clear. One more time for the girls in the back. Hachi bueno ino no kare ko hika o kotomohero mani wichu. Have you wanted for the village to hear about your deeds? Okay.
Next example sentence, number 12. Number 12. Ano iglesima natoko ponte ma inemiyechiwota. And he asked all the people who came out of the church. Ano, person, iglesi, ma is the church, iglesiama. And then natoko ponte ma, na is with, toko means to come out. Pon nakoto pon pon tema is pono tema. Po is to come, no is nominalizer. Tema is that they are coming, the ones that are coming, right? Nakoto pon tema, they were coming out with, and they were the one coming, the ones coming. Okay. Inemi yechiwota. Inemi means all of them. Yechiwota. Yechi means ask, like a question, not request. Yechi is ask. Wo is plural marker. It's plural for the object, and then that means the same subject is doing this verb as something else. Ano iglesima nakoto ponte ma yeni. Oh. Ano iglesima nakoto ponte ma inemi yechiwota. And he asked all the people to come out of the church. Okay, got it. Ano iglesima nakoto ponte ma inemi yechiwota. Okay. Number 13. Masi wota, tamalo wota, nikiroke kona kojomala. He said to them and asked them, and he knelt and they cut his throat. Damn, bitch. Masi wota. Ma is to say. Si is for someone's benefit. Wo means plural object. Da means past participle. I'm sorry, means the same subject participle. Masi wota. Saying it for them and then doing something else. Tamalo wota. Tamalo is to ask. Another word for ask. I guess like pleaded. Tamalo, maybe pleaded. Tamalo. Wo is plural object marker. That is the same puñeta, the same fucking shit, the same subject marker of this verb as the next one and the last one. Okay. Nikiroke. Nikiro is to kneel. I don't even know that in Krikasuki. We interrupt this programming for an unwarranted and ultimately not very helpful Krikasuki vocab lesson. Dohkigeda is to kneel in Greek. In Greek, to kneel is dohkigeda. And then in Ilapon, it's the link shuk, to kneel. I'm kneeling, I guess. In Greek, I'm kneeling would be dohkigas or dohkigadoas hinlischi. And then in Ilapundi, I'm kneeling would be the linksamle or the linksalis. That's to kneel. Nikiroke, back to Timuqua, the old one. Nikiroke, Nikiro to kneel, ke, and then someone else. Kuna is the neck. Kochumala. Kocho, to cut. Oh, cortar. Kocho. I'll cut you. Kocho, that's cute. Kocho. Mo is the plural subject, and then la is the declarative. Masiwuta told him, and then he Tamalo Wuta begged him, and then
Nekiroke, he kneeled, and they, someone else, kuna, the neck, gochomala, cut, they, the subject, plural, did it, period. Masiwuta tamalowuta nekiroke kuna gochomala. He said to them and begged them, and he knelt and they cut his throat. Yikes. Number 14. Number 14. Ooh, this one's kind of a long one. Give me a second. Technical difficulties. Question 14. I'm sorry, yeah, sentence 14. Pilato lapo simonima soldado care miso boni che longino te soldado mi care ma equini uomo hawe masimoke. They asked Pilate to send soldiers to kill him and his soldiers. Pilato is Pilate. Lapusimonima. I'm sorry, lapusimonima. Lapu means to request. Si is the benefactive. Mo is plural subject. Nima means sort of like as it's happening. And maybe lapusimonima. They asked, as Pilate was asking. Oh, as they were asking Pilate, right? Soldado care, soldiers. Miso wonike. Miso means send. Wo means plural object. Miso wo, sending them. Miso wo ni is the passive. So as they are being sent, okay? And then que means if or subject change. I don't know why it says if here. That's weird as hell. Let me double check. Que just means different. Different. Yeah, there we go. Different subject. I don't know why it says if. Weird. Miso wonike. Send causative plural object for wo, passive for ni, change in subject for ke. Longinote. Longino is a battalion or whatever, I'm guessing. And then te is the contrastive focus. Like this one, actually, you thought. Longino te. The longino, you thought. I was gonna say something else. Soldado mi carema. Soldado, soldier. Me, his. Sort of, his, her, their. Care, plural. Ma, the soldiers of his. Soldado mi carema. Soldado mi. Soldier his. Care, plural. Ma, the. Soldier his. The. I'm sorry. Soldier his. The. Soldado mi carema. Equini womohawe. Equini, to kill. Wo is plural object. Mo, plural subject. Hawe, gonna. And then masimoke. Say, they, did, and then. Okay. So, all together. Pilato la pusimonima. Pilate asking for plural subject when or as. When asking Pilate. Soldado care miso bonike. Soldado care, the soldiers, miso bonike. They are sent and then. Soldado care miso bonike. Miso bonike. That the soldiers be sent. Longinote, and the longinus actually. Soldado mi carema, its soldiers. Equini womohawe, they
are going to be killed. Mashimoke. They asked, they said. Okay. It's a pain in the ass. Okay, 15. How many of these shits are there? We're so close to the good part. 15. Alright, it's gonna be a long one. Oro wishikare anti mi chirikokare amunae chenokare ma kurasi wo mohetila. Chirikokare mano ni homi oro wishikare amunae chenokare kurasi wo moheti kwenila. The older ones will not desire the clothing of the younger sisters, of their younger sisters, and the little sisters will not desire the clothing of their older sisters. Let's go bit by bit. Orowishi kare. Orowishi means older, I guess for a woman. Let me check. No, Orowishi is wise, which is an interesting distinction. I don't think there's one in Ilapungir Creek. Yachi is the one for woman. So anyway, Orowishi kare, the wise or the older ones. Anti mi chiriko kare. Anti means sister. Mi means his or her. Chiriko, the little one. It actually sounds sort of like Wikchuga or Hoposhki, Hoposhkoga, Chiriko, Hoposhko. I don't know. Anyway, Chiriko, small, kare is plural, Hoposhko chali. Amuna, clothing. Oh, Amuna echino is all clothing. I wonder why. Amuna. Clothing. I don't know what the fuck echino means, and the dictionary ain't helping. There's lots of, yeah, it's actually just for Amuna echino and for Kome echino. That's it. Anyway, Amuna echino is all just the word for clothes. Chill. Amuna echino kare, clothes. Ma, the clothes. Kura si uomo hetila. Kura is to desire. Si means benefactive, for something. Vo, plural object. Mo, plural subject. He is gonna. Di means not. La is the declarative. Kura si uomo hetila. They're not gonna want them. Kura si uomo. Imi bashna ho chitilaga is what this says. Or imi bashna ho chatiwa. Well, it's not what, it's s. Imi bashna ho chatish. Which is quite a way to word it. Okay. Kura si womo hetila. Not gonna want it. Chiriko karemano. Chiriko, the little ones again, the hoposhkis. Chiriko, hoposhki, little, small. Kare, plural. Manu, as for them. Nihomi. Niho is an older sibling, older same-sex sibling. Niho, mi, the older same-sex siblings of theirs, because the mi is doing the possessive thing. Oroishi kare, los oroisis or las oroisis, oroisis the wise. Amuna echinokare, clothing. Kurashi womo heti koinila. Okay. Basically, I can infer that it's saying here not gonna want him, but let's go bit by bit. Kura is to desire. Si is benefactive. Wo is plural object. Mo is plural subject. He is hawe. Di means not. Ibashna hojati. Okay. Put a pause there. Not gonna want him. Queenie. Bitch, what the fuck is Queenie? Neg and? What do you mean neg and? Who are you? What the fuck is a Queenie? Okay, so it seems to have the function of like hantai in Ilapungi. So sort of to do something, do anything, sort of can be functioning as and or whatever. How? So back to the sentence then. Kurasi uomo heti koinela. Kurasi uomo heti. They're not gonna want it. Koinela. So it is. Oh, okay. So one more time. Oro wo shikare antimichiriko. Oh, antimichiriko kare. Oro visi, los viejos. Oro visi kare, los viejos. Antimi, sisters. Chiriko kare, the little ones. Amunaichi no karema, the clothing. Kurasi womo hetila. Kurasi womo hetila. They're not gonna want it. Chiriko karemano. As for the little ones, Nihomi oroishi kare, amunaichi no kare. The older ones, right? As for the kids, the older ones' clothes, kurasi wo moheti koinela. They're not gonna want those. How? Part two's over, girls. I'm so sorry.